corroboration of what the president claims or to be able to directly contradict him. What I can say is this, knowing what I know about how this thing works, I would give it about a 98% probability that the president's words do not reflect reality, that the situation on the ground in Yemen is far different than the situation that he has been briefed upon. There's no doubt in my mind that the United States Central Command has identified points on the ground and that the U.S. Navy has put bombs on those points, and photographs show that those geographic points have achieved a certain level of battle damage. But I don't share any confidence that those points on the ground have anything to do with deterring or destroying the Houthis' ability to continue to carry out military operations designed to interdict shipping in the Red Sea or to strike targets in Israel, which should be the military mission of the United States, one would think.
It's funny you should say all that, Scott, because in an hour, we'll be interviewing our friend Pepe Escobar live from Yemen, and he has already sent us a video, which we will share, of course. And what does the video show? Destruction of residential neighborhoods. Doesn't show destruction of anything of any military value whatsoever. Why would CENTCOM destroy residential neighborhoods? Why would they target residential neighborhoods?
Well, again, I can only first of all, the targeting of the residential neighborhoods is beyond me, unless the president, President Trump, is notorious for creating liberal rules of engagement, basically untying the hands of the military so that issues of military necessity outweigh issues of collateral damage or issues of whether or not, basically, are you getting the bang for your buck? I mean, everybody knows in wartime, the civilians pay a very heavy price. But generally speaking, the military is supposed to review targets to determine that if there are collateral casualties, that those casualties are commensurate with the military value of the target being struck. In the past, I have to tell you that the United States, at least when I was in, we would not knowingly strike a target that we knew were going to result in significant civilian casualties. We would deliberately avoid that target. Where accidents have been made, mistakes have been made, and of course, civilians have died in large numbers. We struck a bomb shelter during in Adamiyah in Baghdad during the Gulf War, killing hundreds of Iraqi civilians. But again, that was a mistake, an accident. Here, they're striking targets. Knowing what I know about Middle East procurement, and a lot of the targets that are being struck, I believe, are related to the Houthis' ability to procure materials from abroad. So you'll have export-import companies that will operate under various fronts for Yemeni intelligence. And we get a smattering of data here and there, and then we build target sets. I can tell you in Baghdad, as a weapons inspector, I inspected a number of facilities that were located in the middle of residential areas. Many of them were former homes that had been converted to export-import groups that were responsible for buying military equipment from abroad. It's the paperwork. It's where the offices are. The equipment's not there. What I'm thinking is that, first of all, I don't think the United States has a tremendous amount of hard targeting. The Yemeni have been doing this for a long time, since the Houthi have been doing this since 2014. They've been working together with the Iranians. The Iranians are experts at going underground. I can guarantee you whatever target deck we had about the Houthi or Yemeni armed forces and bases and such is no longer valid. It's been shuffled several times as the Houthi seek to relocate their relocatable targets. So I would imagine that our intelligence is out of date. I would imagine that as we bomb targets, we're desperately looking for new targets. So we pull up old intelligence that points us to places on the ground. A lot of times I went to inspect a facility that we thought was a export-import control, only to find that it had been shut down a year prior or 6 months prior and moved to a different location. Our intelligence doesn't update the the target list. And as we expend targets, and we've been bombing for a long time, we run out of targets. I can tell you that. And so we go and we scrape the bottom of the barrel. So we're bombing targets that we have no confirmation. I can also guarantee you that our intelligence on the ground in Yemen is uniformly poor. The Houthi are a very insular group. We do not have the kind of penetration into the Houthi society, into their leadership, into their industry necessary to produce the kind of targeting that would be conducive to real-time targeting of value. So I believe our target decks are crap, excuse my language, and that we're blowing up targets that don't exist, that are incorrect. We know this because we're killing a whole bunch of civilians. We're blowing up a whole bunch of targets that have nothing to do whatsoever with interdicting the Houthis' ability to fire missiles. And these are what we call, relocatable targets, mobile relocatable targets. Historically, we have tremendous problems striking these. During the Gulf War, that was my war, was to try and hunt down and kill Iraqi Scud missiles. And I can tell you, despite diverting thousands of sorties and putting men on the ground and all this, we didn't kill a single one. And that's what's happening today. We're not killing anything except innocent civilians.
Well, somebody who agrees with you, and the president was very frustrated at this a few minutes ago, I don't know this person, is the editor of Atlantic magazine, Jeffrey Goldberg. Mr. Goldberg says officials in the Trump administration, you ready for this, Scott? Accidentally added him to a group text chat about strikes against the Houthis. CNN's National Security Council spokesperson Brian Hughes says the text chain appears to be authentic. He was as critical of the targeting as you were, and he claims to have had accidental access to the internal decision-making. I'd like your thoughts on Mike Waltz. He was on one of his rants over the weekend. I really think these people are looking for an excuse to attack Iran. And I want to ask you about what that will do with the relationship between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Chris, play these back to back. Cut number 8 and then cut number 9.
We've seen the death and destruction that they're doing through its proxies between Hezbollah, the Assad regime, the Houthis, and what have you. If they had nuclear weapons, the entire Middle East would explode in an arms race. That is completely unacceptable to our national security. I won't get into what the back and forth has been, but Iran is in the worst place it has been from its own national security since 1979. Thanks to Hezbollah, Hamas, the Assad regime, and its own air defenses being taken out by the Israelis. Full dismantlement. Iran has to give up its program in a way that the entire world can see. And this is, look, as President Trump has said, this is coming to a head. All options are on the table. And it is time for Iran to walk away completely from its desire to have a nuclear weapon. And they will not and cannot be allowed to have a nuclear weapons program.
Even though their mortal enemy has a nuclear weapons program, it is doing everything it can to involve the United States in a war in Iran. What happens if the IDF and the United States attack Iran? What will Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin do?
Well, first of all, let me just start off by saying that Iran is a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and is obligated by law and by its own commitments not to have a nuclear weapons program. And as we speak, Iran hasn't been shown to have a nuclear weapons program. In fact, the International Atomic Energy Agency, even though it decries Iranian non-compliance, it's non-compliance with an inspection regime that was, attached to the Iran nuclear deal, which is no longer in place. So when the IAEA says Iran is in non-compliance, it doesn't mean that Iran